Okay, you guys, I wasn't ready to go live. I can't believe I just went live without even looking to check and see what my hair looked like, without closing the door here. I gotta close the door. I'm not gonna get up and do it. I really meant, let me pull this out. My hair is hot mess. Hot mess today. So I'm Suzanne Tidkemeyer. I used to write for a place called Pathios. I had a daily column called No Longer Quivering, where I talked about all of these things that I'm going to be talking about today. Why am I talking about that? And I just got distracted by something else. I'm going to have another video. I can see I started doing math on what it costs if you're going to be a hardcore YouTuber and you're paying for information, various things. So that's a different thing. I'm going to do that tomorrow. I really screwed up. I really need to, this Saturday morning, afternoon, and my sleep is really screwed up. So I'm rambling. So let me go back and talk what I need to talk about. Crazy hair and all. Hey, cheapskate. I like that name. That's a funny one. And I am very cheapskate myself lately. I'm trying to get a hotel room in downtown San Jose so my husband can have surgery. And like I said, I'm Suzanne Tidkemeyer. I had my column for over 10 years. And I talk about recovery from religion a lot. And last night, it really struck me that there is an aspect I really have to talk about. Yeah, I'm sorry. I am just a hot mess. One of the biggest things that Husky Floof's investigation, autistic show. Hey, yeah, good to see you too. Autistic, I might have one for you. I know that Vada just filed her TRO, and I fully support that. I stepped down and started doing math a few minutes ago on how much that Without a Box of Kleenex is making and her monthly expenses, and figuring out how much she makes per hour for all the work she does. And those figures are a lot different than they seem on paper, I think. So I am going to have to I do have that many likes. It's crazy. I'm going to have to talk about that probably tomorrow. I'm doing math on all of that. I don't know. So just ignore me right now as far as what I'm talking about, because it's been a hot mess of a day. Last night, well, I've been struggling this week with a couple of things. My husband's getting ready to have surgery and exploratory to figure out if he's sick or not. I'm running around trying to get a hotel room. I'm on my old computer. I'm stuck in my studio. So life feels like a dislocation right now. Last night I was in here and I was scrolling around, looking through everything. And I came upon a recovery group. Now, during my years at NLQ and No Longer Quivering, I got to see firsthand some really, I had to turn this off on freezing. Some interesting recovery groups. Okay, I'm just going to say that. And one of the things that I got to see that is disturbing was that so many of these recovery groups aren't recovery friendly. So if you're trying to do deconstruction, reconstruction, if you're spinning that down and you end up with the wrong recovery group, guess what happens? You end up re-hurt all over again in a different, more bizarre way, when all you were trying to do was you were trying to recover from what had happened to you, this thing that had happened to you that was so awful. So this group last night I saw just made me laugh, because I didn't even have to start reading anything to know how toxic it was when I saw who had spearheaded it. It was somebody that pretty much wrote the book on coming up with high demand religious organizations who constructed a model that we all use to figure out if something is toxic or not. It's a wonderful model. He did the world a huge favor. But I have heard and seen firsthand that he is not a safe person to be around when you are trying to recover. He tends to try and use people for everything I've seen. And this new group was spearheaded by him. And I started looking at all the people that he has running it. He has like this actress that was in The Vow. He has this other grinning actress that was in, I think it was The Chosen. Sucked, by the way. I watched it. I watched the first episode and said, this is not good. And that's a whole different rant. Why Christian entertainment really needs to heal itself, but it does, because it sucks big time. So long story short, that's really where we are with all of this. So I looked at this last night. I was just laughing. And what they're doing is they're trying to compile survivor stories, stories of people getting out of the CULTS. And while that's not necessarily a bad thing, be careful, because there are groups like this that they don't care about healing you. They don't care about you reconstructing. They don't care about your safety. The only thing they care about is exploiting you to get your story, to put it in their book, their website, to use as an example, to write whatever or do whatever. And his group is like that. His is hardly the only one. I have a very close friend that was involved with the ICSA. I was not involved with them. I went to a couple of their events. It was like, nope. She has been broken by these people. They've done and said so many awful things in the guise of trying to help somebody recover. And it's not. A lot of these groups, what it is, it's just about, if it's not about exploitation of your story, it's about the person running the group trying to make a living off of it, saying, oh, this is what I'm now an expert in. I want you to support my mooching ass because I don't really want to hold a job. I've seen that a lot too. And it's just evil. Anytime you see this, you're looking at this going, what is this? So if you see a group that they get more and more exclusionary all the time and they keep moving the goalposts, that's another big red flag. They move the goalposts. They want your story. They want you to be exclusively through them, with them, and they don't want you going into therapy. They don't want you doing anything else. They just want you involved with them. They want to keep you busy doing whatever they want to do, and then they want to tell you how horrible you are at it. This is not an organization that is involved with your healing at all. They don't have any attempt heal you. And I've seen this with some of the survivor groups too. I've seen the survivor wars. I got caught up in a couple of them a few times at NLQ. There's one in particular that is a group that likes to pretend they're about healing homeschoolers. But all I've seen them do is tighten their borders and just spiral down, tighter and tighter and tighter, trying to figure out who is a true survivor and who isn't. And that also is all about exploitation, because the person that kind of runs some of this also writes blogs for money, and she writes them left, right, and center. She writes pro-evangelical, pro-fundamentalist blogs. She writes anti ones, and she tries to pretend she doesn't do this, but it's pretty obvious that she does. And she also dictates to the group who is and who isn't an actual survivor and who is who's not. I watched her take away a homeschooling group from a friend of mine, another friend of mine, who she went behind her and gaslit the absolute you-know-what out of her, just gaslit the hell out of her before taking her group. So basically, if you run across a group that they may make you feel good at first because they're love bombing the hell out of you just the same way as the old CULT church did. But if they are not offering solutions, if they're not saying, hey, have you thought about this? Have you considered this? If they're not directing you to get therapy, they're not helping others, actively pointing to healing, run, 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 run. Because I can't think of anything worse than being exploited a second time. I was lucky. That never happened to me, but it easily could have. And I have had some people that were involved in it for the wrong reasons that I was around. But I eventually woke up and figured out what they were like and what was going on, and ended that relationship. And as much as I hate to do that, there are just going to be those relationships in this world that don't work that you have to do this to. Okay. And it's painful doing the work for this stuff to recover from spiritual abuse, to go into deconstruction and reconstruction, figuring out what it is you believe in, even if it's nothing that you believe in. It's hard work. So I'm going to suggest something that worked for me and still works for me today when I get into these situations. And I still have these situations where I get into it with various people where they're telling me, hey, XYZ, I know this is, and I'm sitting there thinking, I know that's not 100% true. I know this person is extrapolating or exaggerating or out and out lying. You know what I do? I just sit there with it. I sit there with it and I process. I don't take any step until I have processed what I think about these things and whether they go wrong or go right. So there you go. Okay, you guys, that's it for today. I just wanted to come on and say this little tiny thing about this because after seeing that group last night going, oh my God, these are users again. I just wanted to warn you so that you don't fall down into those things. I didn't do any book reviews this week. I barely read a book. I barely picked up a book. All this discombobulation with my computer has still got me locked out of HBO, so I can't even finish my Righteous Gemstones until I get my old computer back and get it working right. But it is coming soon, and I will resume everything once that takes place. In the meantime, I'm probably going to be jumping on here and talking about these things. Tomorrow I am going to talk about Without a Box of Kleenex because I think it does bear some examination where the money is. Follow the money. And the only reason I say that is we had a situation where it was exposed how much she makes. And at first it was a staggering figure. And I said, oh my God, there's no way. That's crazy. So then I started sitting down and doing the cash, doing the expenses. Now, if you work 16 to 18 hours a day, you can have high wages, okay? But you're going to have some extraordinary expenses too, as well. So I started listing all the expenses, and I want to talk about that tomorrow morning because that is, I don't think, doing quite as well as they thought. And I haven't even started to add in legal bills. And like I said, Vada Jade hit her with a TRA. Oh. And supposedly the Collins are going to be hitting her with something, and the Derricos, is that how you say their name? Derrickos and Derricos, I don't know. I get really messed up sometimes from knowing how to pronounce names French way, Spanish way, and then how they're doing it, however they way. I don't know. So I'm notorious for mangling people's names as people have mangled my name, and that's cool. It is what it is. So let's go there tomorrow because I have to think about this and finish writing, and I have to book my hotel. Okay. Thank you for watching. Hit like, subscribe, whatever. And it's all good. And I love you guys. Hope you have the rest of your weekend is a good one.